October 17th, 1999. So this is the big one I wanted to talk about, was the Grand Slam. It's the 20th anniversary of the Grand Slam single. I remember where I was. I was in my dorm room. I was a sophomore at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland. I was in my dorm room. I had a dorm room in my room, and then you go down the hall, and there was a room down the hall that had two of my eventual fraternity brothers in it. Alan, aka the Rabbi, aka the White Pony, and Scott, aka Duder. I wish we had a better nickname for him, but we already had a Scooter, and he said his name was Scooter and was like, who's first, chicken or the egg? Well, we're going to go with that guy. Even though he's a year younger, you're a Duder. So sorry, Scott. Scott was a really nice guy. I hope he's doing well. We bonded over, like, we were both had experience in Rhode Island. Like, he's from Rhode Island. I lived in Rhode Island for a little bit. So I was in my room, and I guess the game was on NBC. Bob Costas was announcing, and I just remember going ape when this happened. And then I was thoroughly confused by what transpired after he actually hit the ball. So the game's tied 2-2. It's top of the 15th, and Octavio Dotel gives up an RBI triple to Keith Lockhart to give the Braves a 3-2 lead. In the bottom of the 15th, we load the bases against Kevin McGlinchy. Todd Pratt, my God, for a guy that didn't really have a whole lot of starts because of Piazza, had some huge moments in Mets history. I mean, of course, you have the home run against Randy Johnson in the 2000 NLDS, I think. Was it 2000 or 99? One of those two. But he draws a base load walk to tie the score at 3-3. Next batter is Ventura, and he crushes the 2-1 pitch over the right field wall. But the kicker here is that he rounds first, and like the entire Mets dugout pours out into the field and mobs him. And Todd Pratt actually physically like grabs him and picks him up and doesn't allow him to round the bases. And I remember being like, fuck, what's going on? Like, are we going to get, in my football mind was thinking there's going to be a flag thrown, and there's like, what's the 15-yard penalty in unsportsmanlike conduct version in baseball? Like, is there an equivalent? Because, my knowledge of baseball rules not as thorough as NFL rules. So at the time I'm like, oh shit. Like, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I was like screaming because I'm like, does this like disqualify us? Like, okay, we had a guy, like, I think a guy scored by the time he got tackled. Does that mean that run definitely counts, right? But then what about the other runs? And like as if I cared about the other runs. Like, no one cares about the other runs except if you're a gambler. And I didn't gamble on this game. I haven't gambled. I pretty much didn't gamble until like 2 years ago on sports. I'm a puss. Anyway, sports books in Las Vegas were put into an unusual situation with the single, quote unquote. If Ventura had completed the Grand Slam, his trip around the bases and touched home plate, the final score would have been 7-3, which case the game would have gone over. The over-under line was 7.5. Can you imagine? I mean, if you bet on that game, the over on that game, and you got screwed by Todd Pratt tackling Robin Ventura, and you had lots of money on that game. That should be not a 30 for 30, but that should be a video. That should be an interview. There's got to be plenty of people who bet the over and were just completely screwed over by that ruling. Oral Hershiser, who played for the 99 Mets, said, it will be right up there with Kirk Gibson's home run, which Hershiser was on that team in 88. And he said, it'll be right up there with Kirk Gibson's home run, Carlton Fisk, Bucky Dent. This one will be on that tape with them. So all-time greatest postseason plays moments. If Ventura had completed his trip around the bases, it would have been the first walk-off Grand Slam in Major League Baseball postseason history at the time. Of course, Nelson Cruz did it years later, but what a time to be alive. That was great. At that point, I thought we're going to win the series. I know it was game 5. It was 3-1 at the time, so we made it 3-2. It went game 6, and I guess 7 went back to Atlanta. But I thought to myself, we have all the momentum in the world. We've got all the juju. We're good to go. Like, a Grand Slam single is just going to be one of many great moments during our World Series victory. Our World Series win. And then we have 2 days later. So I'm riding the high of the Grand Slam single, even though it was very confusing at the end. I didn't know what was happening. It took a very long time for me to process what was going on. 2 days later, my entire world collapses. October 19th, 1999. In Atlanta, Kenny Rogers on the bump, bases loaded, 9-9. is the score. We're in the bottom of the 11th, and Kenny Rogers has a full count on Andrew Jones. Just throw a strike, dude. Just throw a strike. I know it's Andrew Jones. I know the bases are juiced to the gills. I know you don't want to give up a hit or a home run, but you know what's worse? Not even giving your defense an opportunity. And that's exactly what Kenny Rogers did. He walks Andrew Jones. Gerald Williams comes in to score. The Braves take the series 4-2. They go on the World Series and they lose to the Yankees. At that same time that was happening, literally, and maybe my memory is completely fucked. It probably is, and it probably didn't go down exactly like this, but I tend to movify things, and I movified the events that happened that night. Because as that's happening, as Kenny Rogers is losing us our season, my first ever girlfriend, yes, first ever girlfriend, didn't have a girlfriend, an official, legitimate girlfriend. Okay, not a girlfriend that you hold hands with at the park in third grade, like a girlfriend that you have kissed on the mouth. Okay. Like I had a girlfriend in high school and we didn't do anything. And it's just like, we didn't even kiss. And it's just like, what is this? My first official real girlfriend was in college. So I didn't kiss anyone in high school. Newsflash. I know. Big surprise. You're a loser, Neal. Got it. Didn't kiss anyone in high school. My first kiss was in college. That first kiss was my first. And then my first girlfriend, in that order, pretty much. It was just like, yeah, we should probably make this a fish. And we went out from September, October of freshman year in college, got together October 19th of 1999. This is now my sophomore year. On this night, when Kenny Rogers kills the Mets by not throwing a strike, she dumps me. My first ever girlfriend. And let me tell you, folks, it came out of fucking left field. And especially when I'm in a down moment like this, where it's like my Mets were so close to shocking the world and going to a Subway Series in 99. And that happens. And then the girlfriend dumps me. And I went into an absolute tailspin my sophomore year. That was the beginning of the end of a lot of things for me. It was just like, this is the first person I ever said I love you to. You know, it was the first everything. And for that to end so abruptly, me not seeing it at all. I didn't see this coming at all. And to her credit, because she's older and she had boyfriends before me, like a normal person. She had partners before college. And so to her credit, she was about a year or 2 years older than me, even though she was the same year. And I'm a year young for my grades. So it's really like almost like a freshman senior dynamic. She tried to not rip off the Band-Aid, which is, I mean, it's a mistake. You know, she probably just been like, it's over, bye. But she tried to say, let's just gradually phase things out. Like phase 1, we're going to stop doing it. And I'm like, okay, what's happening? Phase 2, we're going to stop the other stuff. Okay, so no more second, third base, first base. This is appropriate. We're watching the demise of the Mets, and now we're talking baseball bases in terms of hooking up. Got it. Third phase, no more kissing. Fourth phase, no more hugging. Fifth phase, no more handshakes. Like it was literally like, boop, 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 boop. We're just going to, all kinds of intimacy and physical contact are going to go away over the next couple whatever phases. She was trying, you know, in her defense, I guess she was trying to look out for me and my well-being, because, you know, I was, you know, hey, I'm this guy's first girlfriend. He didn't kiss anyone in high school, so he's probably not going to take this very well. And I didn't. It took it very poorly and did some awful things, despicable things, nothing that landed me in jail, but things that I regret to this day. And that was 20 years ago that this happened. You know, I was 18 and, you know, a lot of hormones pumping through the bod at that point. You know, a lot of juices going. You think I get triggered and emotional today? Yikes, dude. 18-year-old me, I couldn't handle it. So I thought I could handle it. I was like, oh, yeah, this makes sense. Yeah, let's just phase out this stuff. And then what I didn't know is that we would phase out talking to each other. Like, I didn't really know that was also part of the plan. Like, we're going to stop hugging and kissing, but we're also going to stop shaking hands, and we're also going to stop talking to each other completely. I didn't sign that agreement. I thought it was like, we'll stay in contact. We'll stay in touch. Like, we can do this. You know, we didn't have a bad breakup. You decided you didn't want to be with me anymore. I got it. I told you I love you. Yeah, whatever. You didn't say it back. It's okay. We'll stay in touch. No problem. I've seen people do this. I've heard about it in the news. Couples that break up and stay friends. It's possible. Meanwhile, I've yet to do that with anyone. That's just not something I can do, I guess, personally. It's on me. But yeah, I didn't know that was part of the plan. So in retrospect, it probably would have been better if she was been like, you're not, like, I don't even know how you ripped the Band-Aid when I didn't do anything. I didn't cheat on her. I wasn't abusive towards her. I was just a sorry sack of shit who's boring, I guess. I was not fun. That was basically it, I guess. Maybe, I don't know how you rip the Band-Aid in that case. It's just like, I don't love you anymore. I'm sorry. I've moved on. Or, just tell me you cheated on me, which I think she did. Now that I'm thinking about it. And it was with an eventual fraternity brother. He denies it, but I'm pretty sure. That was October 19th, 1999. That's when I developed, that's when my brain got a little more poisoned. Like, okay, my favorite team is going to let me down. This is one of many disappointments that I should get used to, but I never will. And my distrust of women in general because of one bad relationship. And you want to know who I am and why I am and where I am and what I am? Boom, October 19th, 1999.